Hey guys, what is up? Death Metal Bard here, and they have finally released the ORC license, and they also released a answers and explanations draft as well. But first off, we're going to look at the actual draft. It's only 4 pages. The Open RPG Creative License, ORC, has the right to use ORC content. It's your basic jargon. Your long and short of it, basically. Trademarks, redress, characters, dialogues. Product identity is basically the stuff that is essentially yours. So anything that would not fall under the ORC, I think, would be things like clear, like characters or things that were clearly created by you. Stuff like settings as well, locations, worlds, plots, all of those things that you made for your setting or whatever, would not be under ORC. That would be under your product identity. But anything that would kind of fall into that, I think, it's mostly stuff like it is with it was with the original OGL, just mechanics and things like that. This is constitute but have been expressly identified. There you go, right here. Any material that would otherwise be constituted as product identity, but has been expressly identified as ORC content. So again, stuff like you could have paladins or fighters or barbarians. You could have that. You could have the various races and stuff, because that's been designated as ORC content. But if you were to say, I'm making Throthgar the dwarven paladin, who is a character in an adventure you're going to make or whatever, that's technically yours. Like, Throgar is technically your NPC, so I don't. So he would be product identity, as far as I can tell. I'm not a lawyer, so you'll have to take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm sure that there are other YouTubers who are actually lawyers, kind of looking at this thing and seeing how sound it is. From what I can tell, it seems very straightforward. And what I also like about it is that it also says draft only and feedback requested. I think that's a really good way to get people to analyze your document, particularly people who are lawyers and who are people who enjoy the tabletop RPGs. It makes it easier for people to kind of tell you this is bad. Maybe you should change it or adapt it. Much better than a certain other companies. Totally a draft, bro. But believe me, totally a draft. Wasn't us attempting to just change everything and just bully people into accepting it or anything. No, not at all. Not at all. With that in mind, like I said, long and short of it, it's just a lot of like technical stuff. I do like that it has like a sample notice to kind of tell you how different stuff when you're creating like notices, like this is licensed under this, and and this product is compatible with da. I like that. That way, people who really want to make stuff for ORC with the ORC stuff, they at least have an idea of how they want that done. And now finally we're going to go here to the answers and explanations. I like this. This is another good thing, because this provides a much better, or to say much easier, way to kind of like understand what they're wanting to do with it. So what does the ORC license do? It's a license that can be used by anyone to open their game set for others to use. It's game mechanic agnostic. So again, if you want to make something that's kind of like 5e-ish adjacent, or you want to do stuff that's with like the Archmage system, which is what 13th Age is based on. You can't use 13th Age in a sense, as it is a Fire Opal / Pelgrane Press game, but you can use kind of the mechanics. And the Archmage system, which is what 13th Age is based on, is that it's the system. So if you want to, use, I think anyway, if you want to use like the Archmage system, and then, but you can and put it under Orc, I think it would be okay, but I'm not 100% on that as well. As always, when it comes to these types of things, always contact the person that of the system that you're wanting to use, and ask them, if is this okay? Is this, and if you have something already kind of figured out, send the material to them so they can kind of go, okay, this seems right. I believe a lot of companies have things like that where they show this is kind of what we want, and this is the permissions, what you're allowed to do with the material. So again, always good to have that kind of information, right? Let's see. And this is I like this. It also tells you this gives you like another notice. This says this product is blah blah blah. So that's kind of what we saw in the first part, and a good explanation as to why they created it. They wanted to make sure that something, people didn't screw people over, copyright protection, the threat of litigation, which again seems pretty straightforward. No one controls the license. There's no organization that could like get messed with, which again is very, very good. This one's an interesting one, where it says, can the ORC license be updated? Can it be revoked or amended? And it says, the ORC license cannot be updated, amended, repealed, revoked, or deauthorized. Not ever. There will be no subsequent versions. I think that's an interesting statement to put there, as if you remember again the OGL 1.0 and all the problems with that, was that some people were saying that it could be changed, and some people said no, it's irrevocable, it cannot be changed. Well, here they're stating right off the bat, it cannot be changed. There will be no subsequent versions where something could get changed. It's going to stay as it is. Now, we'll see if that actually does happen, because people, or rather, concepts of things can change. So maybe that might happen, but again, we need to see how it looks in 5 years, because I think 5 years' time is long enough that people can really see how viable ORC is, because it's still too new to kind of like see if it's going to be truly and as impactful as people are hoping. But I mean, again, still better than a lot of other situations. And then Ozora, which is the law firm that registered the copyright for ORC. Like game mechanics, there isn't much copyright protection for the instructions. Okay. I like this one too. If there is no organization, who enforces it? It's like, if you breach the license, all the upstream licensors can sue you to enforce the license. I think what that means is upstream. I think that basically means that people can, like, if you breach something like the license, like you use somebody else's copyrighted material, they can try and sue you. But it's basically to get you to stop. I think it's what it is. And what I also like here is, can I pull my stuff out of the ORC license once I put it there? It's like, no. Once you release your content under the ORC license, you have given the world the right to use the ORC content in that product forever under the terms and conditions of the ORC license. Digital rights, the thing of this license restricts the platform in which it can be used. So I think this means like stuff like VTTs and all that stuff can do it. It's fine. Supposedly it's gonna last forever, but again, we'll see. The license technically lasts for the life of the copyrights, but when copyright protection expires, you can still use the content, because at that point it becomes public domain. So again, we'll see how good that will be. says there's not going to really be any SRDs, but I'm pretty sure somebody will make something for their stuff when it gets to it. Again, very, very simple stuff, it looks like. And then they talk about why they didn't use Creative Commons. CC by SA is a share-alike, where the initial licensor can limit their licensed material. The share-alike provision requires the downstream community to share their entire work. From what I can tell, basically what the share-alike means that if you use the material with the CC by SA 4.0, basically means that then someone else can use it. And then this one, which gives everyone the right to use the contents of the SRD they designated. So again, so now that the Wizards, the WotC SRD has been designated as CC by 4.0, that's only the stuff that's in the SRD. Now, some people have said, well, Strahd's name's in it, aboleths are in it, that means that you can use them. But it's like, no, just because the name is there in the SRD, that doesn't technically mean you can use that, because the character mechanics are not in the SRD. There is no, as far as I could tell, there's no aboleth in the SRD. There's no Strahd von Saurovich in the SRD. So essentially, they can't use those. But essentially, here what it's saying is of the gaming that 5 could be used forever, but when another company builds on their SRD, their innovations are trapped in the product and not automatically relicensed. So essentially, what this one is saying is that if another company builds on their SRD, so for example, you use the stuff that's already in the 5e and then you make your own stuff, that innovations are not relicensed because that's your material. And this effectively kills the open source communities. Now, again, I don't know how truly open source you can be with product identity. A lot of people think that product identity stuff is dumb. A lot of people just feel like everything should just be copyright free, public domain stuff. There is a lot of open source materials that people can use, and some people are like, hey, let's use credit the names, and others just say, yeah, don't worry about it. Just if you want to put credit for the character, that's fine. But yeah, that is the ORC license. So I think this is going to be an interesting turn point for TTRPGs, and I honestly want to see what other companies decide to do with this license. And with that, I'm gonna head out. Thank you for watching. Rock on.